Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mila, you're at Alexandrian Archives, and today we are doing a My Ancient Texts collection video. I have a lot of them. A lot of these are repeats, just in different translation, because that's how it goes. If you know, you know. So I'm gonna start with the big ones that are back here, because the faster I get these out of the way, it's gonna be much easier. So the first one I have is something I got as a present, and it is the Campaigns of Alexander. This is from the Landmark collection, and it's like this really nice coffee table style book with like pictures and notes in the margin and maps. Who doesn't love a good map, you know? Let me see. Maps. Like, hello, yes. Phenomenal. I haven't read this through, but very excited. I love this cover. I love this edition too, and yeah. And the reason why these two shelves are like empty is because a majority of these books were on these two shelves, so just ignore that. And the next one I have is the Landmark Herodotus. This is the Herodotus, the Histories, and it's just called the Landmark Herodotus. And again, notes and margins with maps. So yes, I've read part of this, and it's a good translation. The next one I have is an illustrated edition of Homer's Iliad. This is translated, let me see, retold by Vyacheslav Kukurik, translated by Vladimir Varecha, I believe that's how you say it. And I got this secondhand actually, which was quite a steal because this was like $15, I think. So yeah, definitely. And I just love the illustrations, and it's an easy to digest version of the Iliad. Speaking of the Iliad, I have another translation of the Iliad. This is, I believe, the Samuel Butler translation. Yes. This edition features an accessible prose translation by the classic scholar and novelist Samuel Butler, first published in 1898. So I just love this cover. I love this edition. I really want to get more of these editions. I think they're so fantastic. I just love how simple it is, and I find that the cover, the picture, the painting is very on brand. The cover image is the death of Priam by Jean-Baptiste Renaud, and yeah, I just really love this edition. So yeah. And if you go on my Instagram, I do have a picture of it, because this was my first Iliad translation that I got myself. So I have some notes in the margins, as one does. So there's that. The next one I have is The Tragedy of Sohrab and Rustam, and this is translated by Jerome W. Clinton, and this is the revised edition. And what I like about this one is it has the original Persian on one side and the English translation on the other, and this is a story from the Shahnameh, the Persian Book of Kings, which I have mentioned in another video, question mark. I'm not sure what the schedule will look like. And I got this for a class, and yeah, I would highly recommend. It's an interesting translation, and it's in the poetry translation, and yeah, so I just really like this edition. Highly recommend if you want just the one translation, just the one story to read. And yeah, so that's The Tragedy of Sohrab and Rustam. The next one I have is the Homeric Hymns. This is the Oxford World Classic Edition. It's a translation by Michael Cruden. And the reason why I got this was because I wanted to do a video about like Persephone and Demeter and sort of classic perceptions in modern media, which I have not done, but I have been tabbing and writing, and I have the tabs in here, and I would highly recommend this. It's a fairly short book, and I just like reading the hymns. I just find it very interesting, and they're really nice to read, so highly recommend. I also love this cover. The illustration is The Return of Persephone by Frederick Leighton, I guess, circa 1891. So yeah, definitely highly recommend this translation. The next one I have is my biggest enemy in terms of Roman poets. Ovid's Metamorphoses. Why is he my biggest enemy? Because this man is the bane of my existence. I got this secondhand. The cover illustration is detailed from Venus and Adonis by Veronese. And yeah, so if you don't know what the Metamorphoses is about, this is basically Greek mythology stories retold by Ovid, and it was basically written to throw shade at the gods. So the whole myth of Medusa being a human then turned into a gorgon because she was by Poseidon in Venus' temple is from this man, and that is why he's the bane of my existence, because every time I tell people that that is not the full story, that is not the Greek story, people argue. So yeah, that's that. The next one I have is Plato's The Republic. I just really like this copy. That's why I got it. That's literally it. Have I read it? No, but I just really like this one. This has the Republic, the Symposium, Parmenides, Euthyphro, Apology, Crito, and Phaedo. And the cover is a cover engraving of Plato, and it is translated by B. Jowett. This is not any particular edition. This is from Anchor Books, and I don't know if they have any other like editions of ancient texts. So I really like this cover. I thought it was pretty cool. That's literally the only reason I got it. The next one I have is, I guess this isn't entirely ancient. Oh, I know what I forgot. Hold on. Yikes. Oh, I don't know where it is now. Okay, I'll talk about it at the end. I don't know if this would be considered ancient text entirely. I don't know. It could be, question mark? $12.07. Okay, we're just gonna include this. So I have the Essential Rumi translated by Coleman Barks, although I have heard that this translation isn't the best. I just thought the cover is pretty cool, and I just really like this, and I wanted a Rumi poetry collection. So if you have any better recommendations for Rumi poetry, please do let me know in the comments, because that will be very useful. And yeah, so that is Rumi. The next one I have is another one of my mortal enemies in terms of Roman literature, The Aeneid by Virgil. This is the Robert Fitzgerald translation. This man also translated the Odyssey and the Iliad. I don't have his translations of the Odyssey and the Iliad. I will potentially get them in the future. And this is one I got from my Roman Latin culture class, as is evidenced by the name. And I don't know why, I just don't like the Aeneid. I don't have a profound love for it. It's important as far as ancient cycles go, ancient epics go, but I don't like this. The next one I have is another copy of the Odyssey. Are we surprised at this point? Please don't be. This is the vintage translation of the Odyssey by Evie Rio. I got this as a present. This is the Penguin Classics Vintage Edition. And then I have my Robert Fagles edition of the Odyssey by Homer, and this is my first ever copy of the Odyssey. I feel like I'm repeating stuff. I just filmed my Penguin Classics collection video before this, so yes, this is being filmed in one day. The next one I have is Cicero, translated and with an introduction by Michael Grant. I got this for Roman and Latin culture once again, and wasn't the biggest fan. I'm not the biggest fan of Roman literature in general. I just thought the class sounded interesting, and it was interesting, but I don't enjoy Roman literature as much as I enjoy Greek literature. This is this is the Evie Rio translation of the the Odyssey. This is the newer, revised Penguin Classics edition that you would find in stores. This was ridiculously hard to find in Canada because Indigo never had it. And then I finally found this one at the Big Indigo downtown. So yeah, this is a prose translation. It's not a poetry translation. So there's a difference. I'm gonna open the windows because it is very hot in here. This is a prose translation, so it reads like a novel, and this is the reason why I got past the Telemachy, so the first several books that follow Telemachus, the son of Odysseus. And yeah, it's got a few tabs, and it's got the tabs, so there we are. The next one I have is another Homer. This is the Iliad. This is translated by Robert Fagles, who's the same translator as my copy of the Odyssey. And I got this one secondhand, and finally I have the Iliad. I'm growing my collection of the Iliad. So yeah, this is the poetry translation. I'm excited to read it and annotate it and get to it. The next one I have is Battered to the Core, the Shahnameh, which I mentioned earlier, by Ferdowsi. This is the Persian Book of Kings. This is one of the biggest stories, one of the biggest books in the Persianate world. If you bump into like a Persian person, someone from Iran, Afghanistan, Tajikistan, surrounding countries who is of Persian ethnicity, and you ask them about the Shahnameh, they're gonna know. They're gonna know about the Shahnameh. They will tell you everything they know about the Shahnameh. They'll probably start quoting the Shahnameh. So this is an incredibly important piece of literature for the Persianate world. And this is the Dick Davis translation. I'd highly recommend it. It's very easy to get through. It's long, but still pretty easy to get through. And I am thoroughly enjoying myself. The next one I have is the Histories by Tom Holland. Yes, that is the same Histories as the big Landmark version. This is the Penguin Classics Deluxe Edition. This is translated by Tom Holland. No, not the Spider-Man actor, the classicist. And I really like this translation. Tom Holland is a really good translator in making things accessible, as a translator should make things more accessible. Although that's an argument for another day. And I'm not a fan of the deckled edges, but I've gotten used to it, and it's also falling apart because of how many times I have opened it. And if I am correct, that is it. I also have a copy of the Poems of Sappho, If Not Winter, translated by Anne Carson. I believe it is downstairs. I'm just too lazy to get it. So, I will put up the cover. If Not Winter by Sappho. Poetry Queen in my heart, by Anne Carson. Sappho was a Greek poetess from the island of Lesbos, and that is where we get the term sapphic and lesbian from. And she often invokes Aphrodite as a lover, Aphrodite being the goddess of love as well. And I just love her poems, and I think that Anne Carson's translation is phenomenal. I really, really love it. There's a gentleness to her translations, and it has actually the fragments on one side in the Greek and the translation of Anne Carson on the other side. And I believe Anne Carson is also Canadian, so win classics. And yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know all your thoughts down below. Which Penguin Classics edition, which ancient text should I get next? And that is it. No! That is not it. That is a lie. I have a copy of Gilgamesh, translated by Stephen Mitchell. I can't believe I forgot this. Oh my god, I am so embarrassed. This is basically about the first superhero. This is the first, like, written story of Western civilization. Gilgamesh is considered one of the masterpieces of world literature, but until now there has not been a version that is a superlative literary text in its own right. So this is a verse translation, I believe. Anyways, I read this in grade 12 English Lit. I was in grade 11, and I really enjoyed it. I love this story. I love anything relating to Gilgamesh. I will read it. Like any translation, any retelling, I will read it. Anything with Mesopotamian mythology, I will read it, because Mesopotamian mythology is an untapped well of knowledge and myths and so many cool stories. And yeah, so Gilgamesh was a king in Mesopotamia, and he was very greedy and not a good king until the gods had enough, sent down a person named Enkidu, who was a wild person, and then he was civilized, and then Enkidu and Gilgamesh became the best of friends, also arguably lovers. And then things happen, and yeah, Gilgamesh has changed for the better. I completely forgot about this, so sorry. And now, that is it for this video. Like, comment, subscribe, let me know your thoughts down below, and let me know which text you're planning on getting. I will leave all the links down below if possible, and I will see you in the next one. Reading!